When you come back down.
Hello, good rising or good afternoon, should I say, because it is afternoon. Thank you so much for joining me here for Mindset Mondays. I forgot to tag Mindset Monday. Let me do that right now. Thank you for joining me live for Mindset Monday. And today we are going to be talking about meditation. So, is I meditation is something that I've always wanted to do. It's something that I always sought out to do because I've always been the type of person that wants to be spiritually centered, that wants to be mentally centered. Um, and I've always struggled with negative thoughts, with having pessimistic thoughts. And so meditation had always been something on my short list of things that I wanted to learn how to do and learn how to master. So it was really interesting because a few months ago, I'd end up some type of way linking up with a woman who does deep meditation, who guides people through deep meditation. And so I ended up being a part of a couple of her classes, as well as having her to do some private meditation with me. And it really opened my eyes to what meditation really is and what it means. So of course, because I am who I am, I started doing research about meditation and just trying to figure out what exactly meditation is, what its purpose is, and it helped me to understand why meditation is so difficult for moms. Because meditation should actually be very easy for us as women, but it has a lot to do with that thing that we talk about all the time on Mindset Mondays, which is balance. A lot of times we are seeking balance and not necessarily understanding what balance really is. And I always like to say when I'm talking to moms that you cannot do two things at one time. You can only do one thing at a time. And I really think that, you know, a lot of what moms are seeking out in terms of trying to seek out balance, they're never getting it because it's really impossible. And I think we live in a culture, and we also oftentimes create environments for ourselves where we expect ourselves to try to really balance two things at the same time. If you really look at what the word balance means, it means to literally be able to hold two things at the same time. And while we are balls of energy, which means that we can have different types of energy being held within us at one time, we can physically, our minds, our bodies can only do one thing at a time. So I always say it is more important to be centered than it is to be balanced. You cannot cook dinner and help your baby with their homework. You cannot have a discussion with your husband and be on Facebook. It's just not possible. Your body is not meant to do that. And so, in terms of meditation, a lot of times we have a hard time meditating because we are always trying to multitask. And, everybody used to, I think we are kind of moving out of that era, but everybody used to always talk about multitasking as this great thing that everyone should be trying to do. I'm sweating a little bit, that everyone should be trying to do. But we are now beginning to realize as we move into this new age of Aquarius, as we move into this new age of a softening of the human spirit and expansion of the human spirit, we are beginning to realize that multitasking is not real. Like you really cannot do more than one thing at a time. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about what is meditation. And I think in our culture, we have not yet gotten to that point where we really understand what meditation is. All meditation is the ability to um, be at peace and be in a state of wholeness by being in a place where you're able to concentrate. And there's different levels to it. Like meditation doesn't happen, you can be in a very soft surface meditation. You can be in a very deep meditation where you're really dealing with some emotional wounds and removing some emotional baggage. But I think for women in particular, especially for Black moms, because of all of the hecticness we're oftentimes dealing with in our lives, we really need to focus first on mastering that soft surface meditation. And I think we've been fed this misconception that by running away from the daily duties of being a wife, of being a mother. Hey, Tawana, thanks for joining in. Of being by running away from the daily activities of being a wife, being a mother, we actually get closer to living our life's purpose, to living in a centered way, to living in a whole way. And that is just not true. I find that there are opportunities for really soft meditation and doing day-to-day tasks like washing the dishes, like cooking dinner, like having a conversation with someone that is on a specific topic. There are really opportunities there. So there was a book I had read. I actually had to take it back to the library. I was so mad because somebody else requested it, but I was reading it, and I didn't get all the way through, but I did get halfway through, and it was talking about how women in particular are actually hardwired for meditation because we are taught to pay attention. And that's really what meditation is. It is isolating a thought, isolating an idea, isolating something so that you can pay attention to it, so that you can give it your full attention. A lot of people think meditation is all about removing thoughts from your mind, and it is. It's about removing unnecessary thoughts from your mind, but a lot of it is about removing the unnecessary thoughts so that you can focus in on the things that really have meaning and will bring value to your life. And so in the book Ordinary Magic, which I'm going to post the link, let me get the link real quick. It's called Ordinary Magic, Everyday Life as a Spiritual Path. I love this book because it's a book about recognizing that in life, you can either look at your life as half full or half empty, but what you should really look at it as is it's refillable at all times. You can always refill your cup, whether it's full, whether it's empty, and you do that by paying attention to these really small things that are going on in your life and really recognizing the consistent and constant opportunities that life is gifting you with to pay attention, to meditate. And I know all women are familiar with getting dressed in the morning. I mean, getting dressed in the morning is one of the things they talk about in Ordinary Magic as a means to meditation. And the reason women are hardwired for meditation is because we do those things. We get up in the morning, we do our makeup, we put our earrings on, and in that moment, you are paying attention. Like you are paying attention to one specific thing. I was talking to my mom the other day about having a struggle getting up early every day. And we were talking about getting dressed, and I was telling her, like, I cannot start my day without getting fully dressed. It's something my grandmother passed down to me, my mother passed down to me. Every morning they got fully dressed, like makeup, earrings, jewelry, they did it all. So when I get up in the morning, it's automatically just innate in me to start that process. But that is a process of meditation. So when you're doing mundane things, like this morning I was cutting, I'm making a beef stew, or later on today I was cutting up the beef for the beef stew. And it was a supreme opportunity for meditation, because as I'm doing this, it's kind of like when your body is doing these things that it does over and over and over again. Your body, your physical presence can kind of go into autopilot so that the mental and the subconscious can take over. And I don't know if any of you ladies have ever done deep meditation, but that's essentially what happens in a deep meditation. When you go into deep meditation, you are able to really let go of all of the physicality of your world so that you can then focus in on what your subconscious is really trying to tell you and what it's really trying to say. And oftentimes as moms, as we compete in these environments to balance things, to really try to do one or two things at the same time, we are missing those opportunities where the physical body has the chance to take over and the subconscious and the mental and the spiritual has a chance to really come to the forefront while the physical is lying dormant. So I think that's something that we really need to begin to think about, because a lot of times as moms, especially a lot of the moms that I encounter, they're constantly trying to rush through life. That's one of the things I talk about in the Brown Mama Mindset. This is my book, The Brown Mama Mindset. It is a blueprint for Black moms on life, love, and home. It also has a matching workbook, which I don't have with me right now, as well as a deck of mom check cards. And you can actually get that bundle on sale right now on brownmamas.com for $38. And I'm also doing a sneak peek of the workbook today. So if you click that bit.ly link that's up top in the comments, you can get a sneak peek of the workbook. You'll get 2 pages of the workbook so that you can kind of see what it has to offer. But in the Brown Mama Mindset, I talk a lot about time deficit thinking. and how as moms we are constantly in this on this we're just in this rat race. And so many of us, it was like the day after our kids were born, there was a gunshot, pow, and then we just took off running. And we took off running with no real thought about our soul spirit connection and how we needed to nourish that and endure that. And meditation is one of the ways that you do that. Like, meditation is one of the ways that you really nourish that soul spirit connection and keep yourself in alignment so that you are making good decisions for yourself and for your children. And we have to begin as mothers to really begin to prioritize that. And I'm telling y'all, I get on my husband all the time because my husband is kind of in charge of the morning hours, because I am a morning person, but bad habits over the years have gotten me into getting up late. And so I have been challenging him to get us all up in the morning, because I don't know if you all have experienced this, but when I get up in the morning and I'm able to have that meditation time, and sometimes for me that's listening to music, sometimes for me that's actually sitting down and having a quiet moment, sometimes that's reading something, my day goes so much smoother. I'm able to accomplish so much more. I'm able to create so much more just by having that meditation time. And so as moms, we have to get out of this mindset that it's not going to get done. Because reality is, whatever God started in you, he's going to bring to fruition. It's going to come to fruition. So there's no need for you to rush it. There's no need for you to get on that roller coaster and ride it over and over and over again. Because at the end of the day, when you don't take out that time to get centered, to become whole, everything you create is coming from a place of brokenness. Anything that you don't create from a place of wholeness is coming from a place of brokenness. So it's important that this is what I'll say. Meditation is not for everyone, but I will say deep meditation is not for everyone, but everyone should learn soft meditation techniques. Because if you are not taking the time to figure out on a daily basis what your emotional, spiritual, intellectual, physical needs are, and to be in tune with that, then everything you create is coming from a place of not having recognized your emotional, spiritual, intellectual, mental needs. So I always like to say, for moms, if you have not yet learned how to meditate, then you shouldn't be learning how to do anything else. And as a mother who has been in that place of brokenness, as a mother who has been in that place where I'm not meditating, where I'm not having a healthy life of recognizing what I innately need, I'm telling you that everything else that you create, even if it looks good and shiny and perfect right now on the surface, eventually the broken pieces of that are going to come back to you. And you've got to deal with it, because that's how life works. Life works in that it will allow you to deplete yourself. It will allow you to run off of fumes, but eventually it's coming back. One of the things I talk about in the Brown Mama Mindset in chapter 2, which is called, what is chapter 2 called? I think it's called Nourished Roots. Chapter 2 is called Nourished Roots. And I talk about my spider plants, because I'm a gardener. And so I have a spider plant in my house. And I'm always, because I know it's a hardy plant. So a spider plant, if y'all never seen one, it's that plant that has all those tendrils coming out of it, and it's light green and white. And I'm always killing that spider plant. Like, I'll forget about it because I know that it's a very hardy plant. But one of the things I noticed about this plant is that whenever it has babies, because the spider plant, unlike a lot of plants, they form their babies underneath the dirt and then the babies sprout when it's time. But a spider plant's a little different because it forms its babies on the outside, on its tendrils. And it never fails that when it has babies, if it's not taken care of properly, the babies die first. The plant itself does not die first. The babies die first. And so we have to realize that a stream does not dry up from the inside out. It dries up from the outside in. So before you feel the effects of you running on fumes, of you being depleted, everything on your peripheral is going to feel it first. Your children are going to feel it first. Your husband is going to feel it first. Your work is going to feel it first, because it is an outward production of what's going on the inside. And everybody knows survival of the fittest, the source is going to maintain itself first before it allows anything else. it's going to maintain itself. It's no different than when your body goes into starvation mode, or when you're trying to lose weight. You're going to lose these inches first before you lose any pounds. I don't know about y'all, but that's always what happens when I lose weight. I'll lose a couple of inches and I'm like, oh, I lost something. And then, but I ain't lost no pounds. So we need to begin to realize that it is important that we put these spiritual practices, these mental practices, these emotional practices first in our lives, because everything else that we're creating that is not coming from that place of centeredness is also not coming from a great place. So like I said before, you can get a sneak peek of the Mama Map workbook. So my book, The Brown Mama Mindset, has a workbook as well as mom check cards to go with it. You can get that right now on brownmamas.com for $38. That's going to be a 24-hour sale. And let me post the link. I'll post the link here for you to get that too. Sorry. All right, I'm posting a link in the comments so you can see that. And then what was the last thing? So I think that's all I got for y'all today. So that's what I got. Thank you so much for tuning in to Mindset Monday. I love y'all to life. I hope y'all have an awesome week, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye-bye. Really, Mikhail, do you have to do that?